Do you really want a 7-figure a year business? Most people think they do, or they really like the idea of making $1 million in a year, but they're really almost always unwilling to do what it takes to get there. So I'm about to tell you 3 stories that have happened in the last 1 to 2 months of people from my business that we coach and consult for that thought they wanted to grow and scale their business, but when it came to actually doing what it takes to get there, they quit or gave up. So one person, he was in the program, he was ready to go, talked to my sales guy, joined the program, was super excited, wanted to hit at least 50K a month personal production. That's really the goal that we try to get everybody in our program to hit. And then from there, grow a team, grow themselves, grow from there, whatever it is. So he got into the program, and as part of my program, we do a little bit of coaching, we do a little bit of a course that has pre-recorded videos that I've made. And he actually quit within like 3 to 4 days of getting through 2 chapters of the coursework because he didn't like my accent. So I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and if you guys don't like my accent, I'm sorry. I didn't even know that people from Omaha, Nebraska had an accent, but really that's not even the point. The point is that if you're gonna let somebody's voice or how they talk or an accent be the thing that gets you from learning a skill that's gonna massively grow your business, man, if you can't even get past that, what are you gonna be able to accomplish? And then another person just recently gave up because they couldn't figure out how to get a template that we've built, tested, and proven for them, that we've already given them. So a lot of the work's done for them. They couldn't figure out how to download it. And so then they messaged us and was like, do people ever get annoyed about this? And I was like, no, I mean, for the most part, it works for 99% of the people, but for some people that it doesn't, you know, we're here to help you, right? Because we provide a lot of really good support. So what happened is this person couldn't take 10 minutes out of their day to ask us how to get it to work or Google it. So their inclination was to just give up. And then the third story I want to share you is that somebody came in, you know, knowing that what we teach, because we're teaching individual insurance agents or even small teams of insurance agents how to completely change their business model and get to 7 figures a year. Like, that's really our goal. We want people that want to do really big things. And so when they're on calls with my team, we actually emphasize that it's gonna take work. And so she came in knowing that I was gonna take work, and then she got in and started actually having to do some of the work. And then for the next 2 months, she just went back and forth with my support team, trying to figure out how to get out of this, how to stop whatever she had started, taking 2 months to go back and listen to calls that she had recorded on her side. Now, we record every call on our side, but she was trying to explain to my support team that my person on my team that she had a call with had said that we have a refund policy. And we don't, but that's because we are a coaching company and we keep people accountable. That's really what they pay us to do, and we don't. And so she spent 2 months doing the work to try and get out of having to actually do the work. And had she just spent those 2 months doing the work that's actually productive for her business, then she would have at this point had an asset producing her inbound appointments coming to her, and had an asset that would probably at a bare minimum add 1 to 2x multiples to her business if she ever goes to sell it, because she now has full control over her entire marketing division and she doesn't have to chase people and people would come to her. But instead, she just spent all of that time trying to get out of doing the work, right? So those are just 3 stories. But the point is, do you really want a 7-figure business? And I'm gonna read to you a message from one of my sales guys to me. Basically, he was going back and forth with me, somebody that wanted to quit doing the work. And I was like, why, what's going on? And the person was talking about how they didn't have the budget yet. We went back and listened to the call and they're like, oh, I have plenty of money. So it just really wasn't adding up. And what happened was my sales guy was like, yeah, he's probably just a pansy. And that kind of gave me this realization that I've always known, but never really been able to put into words. And so, you know, I said this back to him. I said, most people think that we coach on advertising. But for the most part, we really coach people to not be pansies. And this is lesson 1. You don't back out on commitments just because you have to do hard work. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Justin Thomas, and on this channel, we talk a lot about advertising, insurance, real estate, and really anything else that I'm interested in. And one of my businesses is Insurance Advertising Masters, where we take individual insurance agents that are struggling and still chasing leads and turn them into multi-agent, seven-figure real businesses that have people coming to them. And in today's video, we're gonna be going over 5 steps or 5 things that it takes to actually have a 7-figure a year business. And a lot of people don't know that you need these in order to achieve that level of business. And the very first question that you should ask yourself is, do you really want a 7-figure a year business? And the reason you should ask yourself is that because you should know what you want before you go and get it. Because ultimately, you will get what you go after. And if you don't really want what all comes with that, you're going to be building a life that you don't truly want. So if you're not prepared to do the hard things that it takes to get to 7 figures, if you're not prepared to, deal with the customer service when you get to 7 figures, if you're not prepared to, sacrifice a lot of things in your life in order to get there, then that's probably not something that you really want. And you should evaluate and sit down and think about your goals and what type of life that you want to design before you start going after something. And along with that, you need to ask yourself, why do you want a 7-figure business? Because out of me coaching almost 400 insurance agents now and doing this myself, the one thing that I have found is if you don't have a strong why, you will not be able to push yourself through the hard times, the hard things, learning new skills, having to slow down in order to go fast later, being in a position where you need to be okay with losing money. If you do not have a strong why, you will not be able to mentally get through all of those hard things. So let's get into it. What are the 5 things? Number 1 is being able to do the things that most people are unwilling to do. And I say unwilling, not unable, because what it comes down to most of the time is you need to acquire and learn a new skill. And most people are able to learn a new skill, but what they find is they're unwilling to put in the time and work to actually do that. So when it comes to being able to do things that most people are unwilling to do, there's a lot of things that fall under that. It's working 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 9 in the morning till 9 p.m. at night if you have to get things done. It's having employees that don't fully do what you want them to do and having to pick up the slack and do everything that they don't do and still have a happy face and a good leadership mindset and a servant leadership and being able to, not immediately just get pissed off at people because they don't have the vision for your company that you do. It's being able to sit on the phone for 6 to 8 to 10 hours a day, back to back to back to back sales calls, saying the same thing over and over and over again to continue to drive revenue until you're at the point where you can hire a salesperson to start doing it for you or alongside you. It's also taking your business that has been doing well and has already been going on a curve like this, and in order to get to the next level, you may have to go like this for a little bit so that you can learn a new skill so that you can go like this. Most people are unwilling to pump the brakes just a little bit in order to massively grow. And what do I mean by that? With a very specific example would be learning another skill like advertising and marketing. Most people are unwilling to stop going and knocking on doors. If we're taking insurance agents, for example, they're stop willing to go and knock on doors all the time. They're unable to take the risks, ultimately is what it comes down to, is that they're afraid to really take the risk, but also take the time to learn the skill that's gonna get them to the next level. And you're gonna see with the next 4 steps, they all kind of fall into being able to do the things that most people are unwilling to do. And ultimately it comes down to taking risks, but people that take risks are rewarded. True entrepreneurs are the riskiest people in the world. A lot of people out there that are business owners aren't actually entrepreneurs. They're really having jobs and they call it a business and they're able to write off some stuff as expenses. But if you really want to get to a business that you run that hits 7 figures per year, you really need to adapt and turn into that entrepreneur type person, not just somebody that has a job or is self-employed. And what that comes down to is taking risks and also doing the hard work that most people are unwilling to do. And along with that comes something that I think everybody that wants to have a 7-figure business should do. It's the 75 Hard program, because ultimately that will teach you to do really hard things every single day in and day out, that you don't want to do. And if you can finish and complete the 75 Hard program, I guarantee you that you will have the mental strength and fortitude and ability to push forward on tasks and new things that you're learning that most people are unwilling to do, and you will learn that through that program. Now, a lot of people may just have that skill and ability without going through that program, but at the same time, I feel like if that's something that you want to do, is get your business to 7 figures a year, I would definitely try that, because it's going to teach you a lot of the skills, the mental toughness, the mental fortitude to push through to really achieve big goals like that. Now, before we get into number 2, please like and subscribe to this video. It really helps us as a channel. And if you yourself are a baller that wants to do the hard things and has in the past done hard things that most people are unwilling to do, leave a comment below of a time where you did something that you know most people wouldn't actually go through and do that for their business or in their life. Number 2 is do the boring work. And I got this from Alex Hormozy. I think that's exactly how he says it, but the principle is true, and there's no better way to say that. A lot of people will start a business, start a self-employed job, start something where they're fully in charge of their income, which is great. I think everybody should do that. But what will happen from there is they'll get their business up, or their self-employed job, whatever it may be, up to like 6 figures. And then from there, it's no longer in what feels like startup mode. The chaos of something new isn't there. You end up having to just do the boring work every single day, day in and day out. Goes back to what I said earlier about sitting at a desk on calls for 6, 8, 10 hours a day, back to back to back to back to back. A lot of people will get bored with that, and they're unwilling to do that. And the thing is, a lot of people will find that they get their business to a situation where it's boring, and they'll immediately be like, all right, I want to start something new. And a lot of times they'll convince themselves in their mind that starting something new is the thing that's going to really get them to the next level. But the truth is, you're actually dividing yourself and your attention. And if you're only at 6 figures, it's not time to start something new. You can easily scale any business that's at 6 figures up to 7 figures, and potentially even up to 8 figures, by doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down into your same vehicle that's already working. But the problem is that it requires you to just continue to do work that's boring, and it's hard work. So once you get to that point where you feel like you're doing the same thing every day, day in and day out, but you're still growing, you know that you're doing something right. And that's where it actually gets hard, because most people that are entrepreneurial, they like the risks. They're in this situation where it's like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again, and they have a tendency to, at that point, chase the next shiny object. And you can't let that happen. You need to double down and focus on what you're doing. And that's where it comes back to number 1. A lot of people will let their distractions get the best of them, and they won't stick with what they're doing and see it out to the actual lengths that it can go to and what it can actually achieve. Number 3 is you can't be afraid to lose money. Now, this is a big one that I see for people that haven't even hit 6 figures, but also people that have hit 6 figures, they have lifestyle creep. The second that they start making 6 figures, or $200,000 a year, or $300,000 a year, whatever it may be, they start to buy a bigger house, they start to get one car, and then maybe a sports car, now they got a boat, and all of a sudden, before you know it, their monthly payments have caused them to be in a hole when they're making a lot of money. And that can be a problem, because at that point, you get afraid to lose money. You start hoarding your money, you start feeling like, hey, I gotta make all these payments, you put yourself in a hole, and you're not in a situation where you can freely spend money to test new things on your business. And ultimately, on the other hand, if you're not in that situation, if you're prior to 6 figures, money's really, really special to you, and it feels like it's everything. You need to hold on to it because you don't have a lot of it. But the truth is, money comes and goes. And you really need to get your mindset to a point where it's like, if I lose everything today, will I be okay? And the answer needs to be yes. And if you're not there, you need to figure out how to get to that point. Because at the end of the day, possessions and money and all this stuff, they're great perks, but they don't really create fulfillment and happiness. And a lot of times your business could be the thing that creates fulfillment and happiness, whether that be through serving your customers or bringing people into your business that you can build up from a tough position to a great position. Those things create real fulfillment. And a lot of times it's hard to see that when you're just starting out. And a lot of times the things that you focus on up front are possessions and money and things like that. which again, like, it's not bad to have those things. Those are fun to have. Those are great. But at the same time, you need to always be in a position where if I lose everything around me, I will still be fine. As long as you have your health, your family, and, you know, for me, it's God, but whatever it may be for you, as long as you have those things, you're fine. If you're in that position, then you are a dangerous entrepreneur because you can use money as a tool rather than money using you. And you really need to be in that position in order to hit 7 figures a year, because at the end of the day, in order to hit 7 figures and 8 figures, it's gonna take money to make money, meaning that you're gonna have to spend a lot of money on advertising. Now, when I say a lot of money, it feels like a lot of money now, but it's the thing that's causing you to make a lot more money. You're not just losing advertising money. You're not just picking a budget, an arbitrary budget. Hey, we're gonna spend $10,000 on billboards and TV ads, and we're not gonna track it and not know how. No, that's not the case. Like, you wanna have an actual system to where, you know, if you put in $1, you're gonna get $3 back. And if you have that system, then, you know, you'd probably want to put as many dollars in as you possibly can. That's what advertising should become. But even outside of advertising, hiring people, hiring new salespeople, hiring actual staff that are going to do work and not necessarily make you money, but it will free your plate so that you can make more money and do bigger things for your business, coach more people, all that stuff. So you really need to be in a position where you detach yourself from money, because you want to get to that point where you can use money as a tool and you don't care if you lose it, right? Right now, we're spending $3,000 a day on Facebook ads. And there are some days that we don't get a single appointment. Now, that doesn't happen often, but there are some days. So $3,000 go out the door and nothing comes back in. And if I wasn't in a position to be okay with that happening, then I would freak out and immediately shut things down and my business would not grow. So in order to get to that point, you have to be in a point, again, that I've already said, where you can use money as a tool and money is not using you. All right, number 4 is you have to actually acquire new skills that are needed for your business. And this is really like a never-ending list, because as you go up and grow up in your business, all it means is that you just need to keep acquiring new and higher level skills. But the problem I see is that people from the get-go outsource skills, and then they get to a point where they outgrow the person that they've outsourced to, but then they themselves can't get any better because they never learned the skill to begin with. So they don't know how to vet to find the new person that can take this over. So for example, we'll take advertising, right? Every business truthfully needs to know how to advertise. They need to have somebody in their business, and especially if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a small person team, you as the business owner need to learn that skill. You are the one leading everybody. You can't just hire out all of these things that you don't know, because it's ultimately gonna come back and it's gonna bite you in the butt. Whether it happens immediately or if it happens a little bit down the road, it's going to, because your business is leveling up around you, yet you are staying right here. You have no growth. You have no business growth. You have no personal growth. And ultimately, that is going to lead to a poor foundation and the entire building is gonna collapse down. So you need to be willing to learn new skills. It starts immediately with sales. Most people need to learn sales. If you can't sell and you have some sort of service type business, or even if it's e-commerce, or even if it's whatever it may be, you need to learn the skill of sales, because if you can't sell through language, through video, or through writing, you're not gonna have a business, because all business comes down to monetary transactions, and that is all that sales is. Then from there, you go into advertising, which is an extension of sales. Advertising is the beginning of the sales process. It's not the thing, especially in service businesses, advertising is not the thing that gets them to transfer the money over, but it gets them 90% of the way there. And if you outsource that and somebody's not doing it properly, they're not truly starting the sales process. If they're just enticing somebody to talk to you for a free gift card or just to get a quote, it's not really doing any sales. It's just bringing people close to you, but they don't have any intention to work with you. They don't know who you are. So starts with sales, starts with advertising and marketing. And then we're gonna kind of sink into secret number 5. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that. Number 5, the 5th thing that you need in order to get to a 7-figure a year business is you need to be able to become a leader, because very few businesses are going to reach 7 figures on their own. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I know a guy that has done 7 figures completely on his own because he has an SEO site and he sells insurance policies all day, every day, and he's just a machine. So I'm not saying that it's impossible, but for the vast majority of people, getting to 7 figures a year as a business is not something that you're gonna do on your own. So you have to go together, you have to go as a team, and in order to do that, you need to learn the next skill, which is leadership, right? Because yes, you can hire out, but most people don't have the vision for your business that you need to have and that you have, right? Gary Vee talks about this all the time. If you're a 10, the highest you're gonna get as somebody that has the same vision and goals and wants and desires for your business is like a 7 or an 8. You're never gonna find somebody, no matter how much you pay them, no matter what position you put them in, you're never gonna find somebody that's gonna care about your business as much as you care. So ultimately, you will have to be a leader. You will have to inspire people. And you also need to learn to lead them with servant leadership to where you're in the trenches doing things with them. You can't just sit up in your ivory tower, sitting down, telling everybody to do what they need to do and expect things to go well. Because I have firsthand experience of trying to do that, not intentionally, but it's easy to fall into that when you start hiring people, and you can immediately see your business start to go like this. So developing the skill of leadership is really what's gonna take you to that next level. Now, all of these things together are equally important, but they all have individual things that play a piece in the entire puzzle of getting to 7 figures. All right, thanks guys. I genuinely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to watch or listen to what I have to say. I seriously appreciate it. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button below. If you didn't like this video, that's okay. Please leave a comment on how I can improve and serve you better. But either way, hit the subscribe button so you can tune in every time I release a video, whether you love me or hate me. Thanks. See you guys on the next one.